story now. The CRL Rights Commission says that the KwaSizabantu Christian Mission should apologise to former members for the damage done as a result of the church's practices. The mission in northern KwaZulu-Natal has was thrust into the spotlight in 2020 following numerous allegations and complaints of abuse by church leaders. After a 3-year-long inquiry, the Commission released its report yesterday. It found that criminal matters such as rape, among others, took place at the mission. Let's find out more now from Commission chairperson Professor David Mosoma. Prof. Mosoma, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Just firstly, do you think an apology would be enough for the victims?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers. Remember that this investigation takes place after almost many years of some of these incidents having occurred. And the difficulty of proving some of these things or testing them is a bit difficult. And of course, it does not lie within the purview of the Commission, because our responsibility is to protect and promote the rights of cultural communities, religious communities, linguistic communities, and religious cultural communities. And now, in this instance, we're dealing with the religious community. Now, what is actually happening is that we have looked into all of the things that pertains to the complaints, the hurt that people suffered. And we understand that hurt is not interchangeable. You can't ask somebody to feel the hurt you had. So they came in their numbers to us to indicate the hurt they've had in that institution. So what we do really is to say, how best can we mitigate a gap of almost 30 years of occurrences given to this particular situation? And the best way is to find a situation in which the church can actually rebuild itself by taking the route of apology, which is a precondition, it's a prerequisite to a reconciliation. Because reconciliation, properly defined, means that those members who were hurt at some point from the assembly and moved out, now they are coming back, and coming back is a consequence of apology, and it's a consequence of forgiveness.
And Prof, you know, looking at some of the allegations that have been leveled by the church or by those victims against the church, those are quite serious. And I know that you can't necessarily police or legalize faith or try and put any legalities around it. But how do we deal with the mushrooming of, you know, allegations against churches, basically preying on people's beliefs?
And this is a difficult matter because some have called on the CRL to close churches. But in terms of the Act, we don't have those powers to close churches. And ours is to protect religion and promote religion. We are not promoting the behavior of those who practice religion. And therefore, the laws of the country must take precedence over the behavior of those individuals who claim under the guise of divinity and abuse the dignity of the people. And that's where we stand. So we are saying, for example, if you have raped, the law of the country will take precedence over whether you believe or don't believe. Rape is a crime. So there's a sense in which we must be able to look into the laws of the country. And if there are gaps, how best to strengthen those gaps so that they can deal with the challenges that our congregants are experiencing because of the different behaviors that are attributed to the people of the leaders of these institutions.
But you do agree that, you know, if your evidence, for instance, was concrete, that government had every right to shut down a church like that?
Now, even if we had the evidence, because the church does not belong to an individual, it belongs to the community. So you deal with the perpetrator instead of dealing with the structure of the church.
Okay.
It's like when you have a company and the CEO is misbehaving, you don't close the company. You deal with the CEO. So that is the situation. We don't close the church because it could well be the 90% of the people are okay.
Yeah.
And they are actually not hurting anybody. They believe in what they believe and exercise and enjoy their belief. But this one person is actually abusing them, or these 3% are actually abusing them. Then the law must take its course and deal with this individual.
Well, I have to agree with you on that one, especially with the example that you gave, Prof. But just lastly, did you, for instance, just encourage some of those, victims, especially the rape victims? Remember, there has been a ruling by the Constitutional Court that rape doesn't expire, so you can still go lay a charge against your alleged rapist even years after it's happened. Have you encouraged them to take the matter forward?
In fact, in terms of our own recommendation, that is provided for because we are saying matters of rape should be referred to the SAPS, which is a body qualified to investigate and get people charged and prosecuted. So that is open. We have opened that door, and we'll continue to advise them to approach the law enforcement agencies because this is the prerequisite or the mandate that lies within them, not with the CRL. So we are encouraging that where people feel aggrieved, they have people raped, they must follow the legal process and get justice done.
What's been the response from the church to your recommendation that they apologize to the victims?
So far, we have not received a formal response, but we believe that the apology goes directly into the essence of their faith. If they cannot believe in apology and forgiveness and reconciliation, then one must ask, what do they believe? Because those are mandatory in terms of the Bible they read.
All right, Prof, just lastly, there's been so many times, even when there was the previous chair of the CRL, there was a lot of times where she also spoke about how churches don't respond to the CRL. Sometimes in some instances when you call these churches to come and present their case to you, they don't bother. So do you think the CRL actually has the type of authority to make churches and religious or traditional groups see you as an organization that is looking to make sure that the law of the country, at least, is followed? Do you have the teeth?
We have the teeth. We have the powers. Section 7.2 of the Act empowers us to investigate anything and at the same time to issue summons to individuals who refuse to come to us. And yesterday, at the conclusion of my report, I indicated in the event a body or an individual fails to respond to summons, then we take the legal route. We report them to SAPS. It's a criminal matter.
All right, Chair. Thank you so much for your time here on eNCA. That was CRL Commission Chairperson, Professor David Mosoma.